morning, guys. Welcome back to the channel. What we're going to do today, and I've got to find my little tabs, I'm going to attempt to build a little portable welder. I don't know if you remember when I took apart that good old charge-all, I had 4 of these little generators. And the way they're wired, they have no kind of regulation or anything. It's basically right off the brushes to these. I don't know which is positive, negative, I don't know. They've got them tied together and then run in series and all kinds of stuff. We'll have to take this off, find out which is positive. Negative may just be the ground of the case, I would assume. Anyways, that's the way my alternator welder worked. It used the ground off of the case of the alternator and then the charge wire that would charge the battery as your positive for your stinger, your electrode holder. But the way that worked, you did away with the voltage regulator, basically like this is already set up as. And that particular alternator was a 270 amp Lease Neville. So it was a big alternator, it's a big rig alternator, and when you took the regulator out, you basically made it go from single phase 60 hertz to 3-phase 180 hertz. And it welded great. I made a living with it for several years. In fact, here is the alternator that I did that with. And you can see this is where the voltage regulator went, and basically these 2 terminals are what rides on your brushes. This was your armature that would run your welder. Now there's diodes all inside of here, and if I'm not mistaken, this was the negative. My glasses. Yeah, there's your negative and that was your positive, and that's basically where your 2 leads went. These no longer worked. I don't know, it's all magical how it made it work, but this little, when I say little, this big alternator was what I used to make a living with for several years. I put up metal buildings, I put up miles of pipe fence with it, and I believe that actually goes that way, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And it did a really good job. I had a 13 horse electric start Honda running it. Now, here was the problem. I needed to run another alternator because what had happened is it would have the battery for the electric start. Once you started it, it had a switch. This would not become energized until you put the 12 volts to it to make it start putting out electricity to weld. Problem was, the whole time you're welding with it, it's drawing off that 12 volt battery. And I had a big, I say a big, it was a standard car battery running the alternator. And it needed another one to be putting charge back into the battery, because what would happen is, and it took a while, about an average of 6 hours of non-stop welding would finally run the battery down enough where it wouldn't be welding as good, and you'd finally it would quit welding altogether. And I don't know if that's what burned up the diodes. That was the main reason for me stopping using this. Otherwise, I'd probably still be using it. I sent it off and had all new diodes put in it. It should be ready to rock and roll. But what I'm trying to do today is I've got this little Honda 190, and I've got several others. I got a 5 horse, a 3 horse, I think, and that's a 4 horse. This is probably the most powerful of all of them. I think it's like 6 horse. It may be 5.5. I don't remember exactly what it was. It has its own fuel pump. It's a pressure washer engine. So it basically runs, you choke it, and it runs full throttle. I could put a linkage and make it where I could adjust the throttle, but for what it's going to be, I'm going to have this engine running this generator, and hopefully I can hook leads to it and make it weld. Now, is it going to be where I can crank it up or down? No, it's going to weld 1 amperage all the time, which really for me, even with my big Lincoln in the back of the truck, I usually leave it on the same setting all the time. I try to run the fine control all the way to 10 because I'm running an air compressor, plasma cutter, and you're supposed to run them at max for your power to your outlets. And then I usually run the main setting all the way down to 90. And it's a little low for welding like Schedule 40 pipe, but it will work because I always weld all my pipe uphill, so it's a little slower, but you can really work it in there, and I've never had a problem with it coming apart. Now, when I go to building the gates, I build them out of the same 2 3/8. It's just a lighter gauge. I can still leave that set where it's at, but it's almost a little too hot. So if I'm done with the plasma, I'll crank the fine amperage back down to 6, 7, 5, wherever I need to, where I'm not burning holes in the pipe. And when I weld hinges on, I like to really burn them on, so I'll leave that on 10, but I'll crank that up to 145 and weld them downhill, and it'll really melt them hinges onto that Schedule 40 pipe. So theoretically, it stays set in 2 places, on 90 or 145, and most of the time it's on 90. The only time I turn it to 145 is when I'm welding my hinges. So with that being said, if this thing will work, say it puts out 90 or 100 amps, and it may burn this generator completely up, I don't know. This is all theory and trial and error, but if it'll do that, even for short bursts, it'll be great for just a little portable welder. The whole idea is to make this thing as small as possible, where you can pick it up with one hand, and made as cheap as possible. I've got all these scraps, a flat bar angle, some tubing, and I've got more stuff out there if I need to. I'm going to try to build the smallest frame, the lightest frame, as cheap as possible, and possibly make a little welder that actually works. Now, are you going to be able to go out and work it 8 hours a day, full time, 40 hours a week? Probably not. But if you needed to make a little repair, you could just pick this thing up, set it in the back of the truck, and go. Granted, I usually carry my welding skid in the back of my truck everywhere I go anyways, but the plan is when I get the square body fixed, or finished, not fixed, the dually, that skid is going to go on the dually, and then this will just be my run around truck again. But it would be nice to have something like this I could just toss in the back rather than have to get the skid steer, grab the skid off the dually, throw it in here, or take the dually if I want to just, especially if I'm going on a long trip, I want something a little more comfortable than the square body. This is automatic, you know, 6.0 automatic. It's got cold air conditioning, heat, everything. It's a lot more comfortable for long trips. So with that being said, now we're going to try to get started. I'm going to try to gather up a few more materials. I need to find my little tabs I bought for another project that I think will work for these. I can weld them here and here, and that'll give me my hinge point. And then I've got plenty of all thread and bolts that I can, and even the old linkage off of these that I can use to make tensioners so that we can adjust the belt, because it's going to be belt driven. I've got to find a pulley, or I may have to run to the store and buy one for this engine, but this is going to have to sit like this, so it's going to be kind of little long, not bad, but I don't want it really wide. Ideally it would be nice if I could put a coupler on this and run it right off of the shaft, because the way the original drive was, I believe this pulley that was on the 16 horse and this pulley were the same size, so theoretically that should run the same speed as the engine. If I took this setup off, which I really can't because that's your cooling fan is made into the pulley, but if you could, you could mount it in line with a Lovejoy coupler or some other sort of coupler, and it should still work. I'm just hoping this engine, being as small as it is, has enough power to actually run this. I'm sure it'll run it. The true test is going to be when you strike an arc, if it pulls the engine down and kills it. So anyways, I'm going to get my coffee, Finished drinking that, and I'm gonna gather up some more materials, try to find these little tabs in the truck, and we'll get started. Okay guys, I'm back. I ran down to Tractor Supply and bought a pulley to fit the engine. They didn't have a big selection. They had 3-inch and 4-inch. I chose the 4-inch. Maybe get a little more speed out of this pulley. And I forgot I have this in the scrap pile. So it's pretty lightweight. That's actually the pressure washer frame that one of those engines was on. Guy flying around in one of those powered parachutes. He's like really low. I hope he ain't crashing. I heard an engine running out here a while ago, and I was like, what is that? And then I seen him. Oh, there he is. I don't know if you can see him in the pictures. He is awful low. And there's a helicopter. That wouldn't be a good combo. Two of them getting awful close to each other. I still hear the parachute running. Now it sounds like he's coming over us. It was a hole. Oh no, that's an actual plane. What is going on? Now he's circled back. Oh, there's the parachute guy. And there's a helicopter. And there's something else flying awful close by. What is happening here? That was awful close. Now he's coming over us. There's more action in the air today than there is on the ground. That's kind of crazy. And y'all probably can't see it, but way off in the distance up there is a itty bitty little, like a single engine plane going off into the clouds. I'm kind of curious as to who this guy is. Uh-oh, bird strike. That would suck. Well, at least he's on a parachute. He could glide back down, you would think. Okay, back at it. So anyways, since I'm on a time crunch, kids are at church, they'll be home in a couple hours. I thought I might be able to use this frame, since it's on wheels, and it's still wide enough, I think, even with the engine and the generator on there, that we could actually pick this up and put it in a truck. I'll take all this junk off, of course, but I don't know if I'm gonna have room to weld the tabs and run the alternator. Let's just set the engine on there and see what it looks like. See what kind of room we got. Of course, it would have to be dead center of the frame. But I might be able to build something up here with a generator. And I think this generator will actually run either direction, if I'm not mistaken. So that would be a big help. Seeing as how there's basically just brushes, it shouldn't matter which way it turns. Let's Let's get a keyway in this thing and lock it onto the shaft. And then we'll bolt the motor down. Really need a spacer back there. See if I got something I can use for a spacer. It ain't gonna wobble around. Junk drawer. Here's something we can do, because here's the other thing. For this to really work properly, it needs some sort of flywheel, extra mass. So that it helps keep this thing spinning when it's under a load. Now I think I can put a bolt on there. That's part of the clutch. If I have a fine thread bolt that'll fit that. Not quite. Maybe too long of a bolt. Dang it. But I have a spacer for that. Look at that. So tighten that up. I told y'all this is going to be quick and dirty. Ready to put a lock washer on that, and I will later. Now, I did have some bolts. There's two. Now, those two will work for now. To hold her in place. I don't really like that, but it doesn't have to work. I don't think this is going to work. Dang it. Well, back to the original plan. There ain't going to be enough room on that little frame. Well, dang. Okay. No biggie. Take everything back off. This will go back in the scrap pile. Okay. All right. So, yeah, that's hot still. What I need to do, I need to get the bolt holes drilled in this plate. Let's do this. Since we're going to want the generator on this side, not the tank side. I feel better about this setup anyways because I really, like I said, I kind of wanted it as compact as possible. And then I can have just like that, and possibly use these existing bolt holes for the tensioner. put a flat bar to go extend past this for this other lug. For now, we need to mark holes, get them drilled, and go from there. And then just sand this down to fit in that hole. Let's see if we've got marks. And I did find the tabs. I don't know if I mentioned that in the video. I got plenty of them. We're not going to center punch these, we're just going to get at it. I'm going to hold that with some gloves though. And a clamp. I don't want another let's chop our thumb off again, or try to, incident. See if the holes are going to match up with the engine. That one does. I think they're all going to work. Again, we're just going to put these two in it for now. That should work just enough to tell us if it's going to work or not. And if it does, then we'll put the other four in. Time crunch. All right. this in line with what we're wanting to do. Nope, wrong. There we go. Let's go ahead and do this. Put some bolts in it and we'll tack them on. That one's threaded, so and we're going to need this tooth belt so it'll grip that really strong, because it's going to try to slip when it gets a load on it. It needs to be further away though, it's going to be a problem. We'll tack that to that, and then we'll raise it, and we'll get some tension on it, and we can move it in or out. I don't really want this thing straight up now, so I'm trying to keep that just a little bit. We're just eyeballing this. Not going to work. I need a shorter belt. May just have to rig up something else. How about Another piece of flat bar coming out of the hole. Like so. That'll work. Drill another hole. That too. Get in there. Come on, dude. Bad bolt. This will work better anyways. Alright, take that on there. When I say tack, I mean make a ginormous weld. I do have a shorter belt, but it's a smooth belt. And I think it'll slip no matter how tight I get it. Okay. Now, that's hot. Let's put a little tension on that belt. And power. Don't look perfectly aligned, but we're going to see if it'll run without chunking the belt off. This time. Oh yeah, we're good. For a little while. Alright, now we need to see what the output of this sucker is. Alright y'all, I lost a little video footage of me trying to weld with this thing, so we're going to try it again. Hopefully we can get it to do something. Bear with me on the noise because this engine's kind of loud. Well, it is loud when you're inside a building for sure. I need something to help grab this rod. Okay. Now, in the last video, the only way to get any kind of power is to excite that generator, which they had these tied together. Why, I don't know. I don't understand how that whole situation worked. Well, I've got the positive to the ground, and we're going to have the negative to this. Let's see if it'll weld. Maybe, maybe not. doing a little more than the battery, so it's putting out some kind of voltage. But not enough. So, back to the drawing board. Who is it? Oh, one of my friends posted a video. Who cares? Alright. Now, is there a washer on there? Just had the snap ring. That didn't sound good. Late now if that's not long enough. I think I did have this one running. And I'm the one that broke the rope. Where's that one go? Well, let's just see what it's gonna be. says it was a steel kill switches. Alright. Let's see what it's going to do with the weeds. Oliver, hush. Oliver. And Sadie, what are y'all doing? What are y'all doing? Huh? Oliver. Oh, yeah. Oh. Oh. You poor neglected puppy. Yeah. How I managed to do that without killing the elephant ears, I don't know. But it don't matter. They're going to die off anyways, and then they'll come back. Alright, guys. That's it for this video also. Now I got this pile of crap to get rid of. I'll probably save this engine just because I know it runs and the carburetor's good on it. Clutch is good, all that stuff. Chew, it stinks in here. Oop, no, I'm out of coffee. But throw that shaft away, I don't need that. I say that, I may keep that because that one's got a whole lot of vibration. Keep the tank because I know these hoses are new-ish. This is junk. Don't need that. Don't need this. Y'all notice I cleaned this area up a bunch yesterday. Not so much in the shop. It is cleaner than it has been in a while, but I also, you can see what happens when I work on a project. 9 times out of 10 I work on it in the dang floor, and because my table's full of crap, and I end up making another mess. But I wanted to show you guys this stuff. I've got all these wrenches the other day. A guy gave them to me, some old pipe wrenches, which I got jillions of pipe wrenches. Everything's all rusty and crusty, but there's a bunch of wrenches here. And I'll use them to make sculptures, which I haven't done in a long time. The last one I built is this one I'm going to show y'all. A lot of the people drive by and they'll stop and get out and they'll take selfies with this guy, or just take pictures or video or whatever. Kind of built it with a bunch of scraps and shit I had laying around. Sideball's coming back out. Anyways, that was probably a good alternator. I may need that pulley. This was a good distributor, and it was originally meshed up with this gear where you could turn it and it would turn that. Didn't really do nothing, but anyways, I'm gonna probably build another something similar to that. Also cleaned up the field, kind of pushed everything up against the fence. to get ready to build a building out there. And if I ever get parts, I'll be able to get some of that stuff moved out of there. But we're gonna go in. I'm gonna stop the video. I need to get more coffee. I need to put all this stuff up. I need to get this cleaned up, or I can get the side-by-side back in the shop out of the weather. And we'll get ready for the kids to come home. So, I'll see you guys later. Oops, I got grass all over the land, sorry about that. So we had success. The welder didn't work. I still got some more research to do on that. The weed eater did, however, work. And I do remember now that weed eater, I had both of them running. The rope broke on that one, so I went to using the other one, and I've used it for the last couple of years, other than just whenever you wanted to kill it, you had to choke it, because the kill switch didn't work. No biggie. And so, since the throttle cable is way harder to fix than, I mean, I could order a new trigger for it and probably be fine, but I only need one weed eater. And since that one works, we're gonna use that one until it quits, and then I'll throw it out by the road. But chances are I'm only gonna use it a couple more times around here, and we won't need to weed eat no more for the year, I hope. And then we'll have the lawn service guy do it the rest of the time. That way I don't have to worry about keeping old mowers going, because I don't ever buy, the only thing I've ever bought new was that welder in the back of my truck, and it's already got 1,500 hours on it. I don't know if you guys can, nah, I'm sure you can. Horse apples. This tree puts out a lot of shade, and I love it, but I hate the fact that it drops these apples. Yesterday, I brought my ride mower with the trailer, and I picked up 240, 250 of these apples. And late last night, sat outside with my wife on the porch, and then early again this morning, about 5:30 a.m., and you could hear one every now and then. Boom! You'd hear them hit the ground. They're heavy. And I counted 20 more already that fell through the night and today. That's the one thing I hate about this tree, having to pick them up every year and dispose of them. Now, the great aunt that lived here, she kind of would just come out whenever she seen a few on the ground. She'd pick them up, throw them in the dumpster, which I guess is what I'm going to have to start doing, because I usually wait till the ground is saturated with them, and then I try to go around picking them all up, and it's just too many. It's way too many to throw in the dumpster because it'll weigh way too much. So anyhow, it's dark. So guys, go check out my videos, like and subscribe. I'm still looking to get my subscribers up to where I can hopefully get some AdSense and get a little monetization going. I'm getting there. I'm at 616 subscribers now. It's just, it kind of plateaued, and then it's just, now I'm only getting a couple of subscribers a week, maybe 1 to 2 a week or every other week. So I know it'll get there. Like I've always said, it's just going to be a matter of time. How long it's going to take, I don't know. But I'm patient. I've got a full-time job, so, and I've been super busy right now with work. I've got some really big jobs, which has also made it where I can't get out here and work on the stuff I need to work on, which really doesn't matter because I don't have parts for them either yet. I got parts ordered. I got parts at the shops getting repaired, starters, alternators, generators. So hopefully when all them parts come in and they're ready, I'll just have to make time to sit down and work on some of these things. The little BF Avery tractor, I may keep it for parades, I don't know, or I may sell it to my cousin. He wants to have a little tractor for parades, so he wants me to get it going and he drive it in the parades, which is fine. I may let him do that too. I don't know. I hadn't decided yet. But anyways, I'm gonna let you guys go. I got to get these videos edited and uploaded to YouTube, and I will catch y'all on the next one. Thanks for watching. Later.